been on a 3-week, I wouldn't call it annual leave, kind of an annual change of backdrop whilst I've been doing films and composition and stuff in Italy, in London, and here, the majestically beautiful but quite rainy Lismore, close to Oban, famous for its whiskey. I've also had time to really enjoy the community on this channel and really wade through the comments, and I look forward to getting back to the shed in Edinburgh to address some of those ideas and suggestions for videos and up my game back up to about 3 videos a week, time permitting, because I'm going to start getting quite busy as a composer at the tail end of the summer. One of the questions that keeps on popping up from several of you is how I manage my time and how I seem to be able to do a lot with my time. Do I have superpowers? I don't think you're imagining Marvel. I think you're imagining those big fat navigators in Dune. Do I have loads of assistants, or do I just simply not sleep? And the short and basic answer is I simply get up early, but obviously this channel isn't about short answers. So I'm going to first give you my kind of elevator pitch for an early start. They say the early bird catches the worm. For me, in the UK, the early bird catches the licensed pint. If we look at the clock of an average UK day, it kind of pretty much resembles this. And for me, in this kind of lonely world of composition, I just can't bear working when everyone else is having fun. But also, if I work when everyone else is working, I get disturbed with emails and all sorts of distractions. So I've dragged my clock back to an hour where no one is awake, where there's absolutely naff all to do. And as a consequence, provided I don't eat, there's a kind of inner hunter-gatherer in you, I think, at that hour of the day, which forces you out of bed and just makes you work at it and stick at it. So that's early starts, but let me describe to you my kind of average day. Now I say my kind of average day, the kind of day that I could kind of best hope for. And this day, today, is not going to be one of those days. So my day starts at 3:30 in the morning, where I'm instantly plunged into an abyss of pure unadulterated panic, caused by my inability to have produced anything of any merit the day before. And then between 8:30 and 10, I do what you see me do very often, which is take the dog for a walk. Now I triple stack this into 3 activities. One is kind of free, creative thought, solving problems, that kind of stuff. The other is exercise, desperately trying to lose weight so I don't end up looking like one of those Dune navigators. Third is taking Oscar for the walk. Oh yeah, and there's the fourth. I tend to make some videos up there too. 10 to 10:30 ablutions. Then what follows is what I refer to as Battle Royale Part 1 and 2. So Part 1 happens between 10:30 and 12:30, half an hour lunch break, and then between about 1 and 4, this kind of raging battle resumes. And this battle I refer to is the eternal conflict between productivity, distraction, so emails, Slacks, Skype calls, playing handmaiden to directors and producers, and our biggest foe, procrastination. And then about 13 hours into my day, just as you're ready to kind of wind down, your brain stops working, you want to see your kids, and the God that rules us all, Lord Pinty McPinty Pint, is just in the next valley going, pub, pub. Something goes to spoil it all. You have a fucking idea. I don't know why this happens. Every day at 4 o'clock, the cloaked composer comes out and goes, Christian, fancy farting out some dots? Doesn't have to be counterpoint, just some long notes will do. So after reluctantly embracing the thing that it is that I say that I do, composition, for about an hour and a half, 5:30, it's time to take the dog for a walk. And instead of having a nice clear mind to just be in the moment and enjoy my surroundings, no, I have to kind of think through this kind of unasked for idea that I've just come up with, which always ends up at the pub. The kind of creative thinking I do there is about 20% useful the next day. And then 7 o'clock, 1 hour, family time. And if I'm in the middle of a vlog, possibly a little bit of video editing, then dinner, about 8 o'clock, about an hour. Worked out that I have about 6 thumbs of red wine at this point. Then it's telly, and then sleep. It's not a surprise that it's complete mayhem, because you've got to kind of be a computer expert, you've got to be a musician, composer, arranger. Our job is also that of an HOD, head of department. We've also got to kind of run our business, whilst also kind of looking ahead to the next chance, researching stuff, being on top of the zeitgeist. And that's made me think, is our day what we think it is? If we maybe rewind and think of it differently. So for me, 3:30 to 8:30 becomes 4 hours pure, unadulterated productivity. Not a panic, not a mad scramble. This is showtime, or as they call it in the restaurant trade, service. And service is dependent wholly on your mise en place, your preparation, what you have done the day before to clear the decks to ensure a clear run to that deadline. 8:30 to 10. Well, this is my opportunity to be an entrepreneur, to have free, creative thought and walk the dog. 10 to 10:30, ablutions. Between 10:30 and 12:30 is part one of us basically managing our business, whether that be emails, Slacks, Skypes, also doing a degree of research, formerly known as procrastination, and of course preparation, which we used to refer to as crappy, non-productive productivity. Half an hour lunch break, and then part two slips slightly more into the preparation side of things as the emails and Skypes and Slacks and tummy tickling dies off. 4 o'clock, the cloaked composer comes out. Why does this happen? Well, I guess it is, from what I'm told, because that's the one time in the day that you are truly in the moment. You're not thinking about what's gone before, what's about to come. You're not about to be distracted. You're not being distracted. Your brain is emptied, and that's when Mr. Composer Man comes out to play. About 5:30, time to take the dog for a walk, and this is an opportunity for me to take the idea that's just happened and to work that in to a plan of action, the final part of the mise en place before production next day. Pub. And then 7 o'clock for 1 hour, family time. No fiddling around with the internet, no video editing. Then dinner, then it's telly, and then sleep. It's been a long day, and I won't deny that even with this new outlook that it's not really difficult, and you may think that 5.5 hours is not enough sleep, but genuinely the minute I put my head to the pillow, it's not just sleep, it's like a kind of almost death kind of unconsciousness. I guess if you were to try this early morning thing, someone told me about running. If you're going to try starting running later in life, try running for 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes the next day, and then 4 minutes the next day. It'd take you about 4 months to get up to running for an hour. My suggestion would be to try and maybe get up just half an hour early. I would suggest making sure that you mise en place the day before. You hit the ground running. And what's most important is that your weekends look like this. So whilst I love to have a romantic view about my ability to wake up every morning without fail between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning, no alarm, jumping out of bed, flooded with adrenaline, like to think of it as a superpower, it's probably more likely to do with the fact that I suffer from something called chronic apnea, which means I have to wear a machine so I don't suffocate whilst I sleep. Romantically, I think I look like this with it on, whereas in fact, I look like this. We are all different, and I think it's very, very important that we listen to the needs and demands of our own physiology and our own psychology. For someone at my age to offer up the advice of just work yourself into an early grave would be deeply irresponsible. I was reading an article recently about how there's some European legislation that's going to change the amount of decibels that musicians are exposed to. So they're having to change orchestral programs all around Europe. And a dissenter said, well, if you really wanted to help musicians, you should offer them free marriage guidance counselling, alcohol dependency advice, and psychoanalysis. The point I'm trying to make is, you know, we must obviously look after ourselves. We know that smoking is bad, and, you know, you've got to give that up eventually. We try to cut down on the burgers we eat and the sugar that we have. But for some reason, within the Camelot of our skulls, the brain is ignored. We don't take steps to look after the thing that is us and our creative, well, in my case, being. I don't think it's a coincidence that some of the most talented and successful musicians ever to have graced this planet didn't make it past 27. So what I'm saying is, whilst it's good to take the advice about how to manage your time, certain strategies to use, and yes, obviously, work at it, don't be lazy, don't waste your time, these are all good things to take on board. you've also really got to look after yourself. I would really like to hear about the strategies that you employ to be as productive as you can, whilst also, you know, maintaining a work-life balance and also not shuffling yourself off to an early grave. Do take care of yourselves, and thanks as always for watching. Subscribe if you haven't done yet, like if you like what I do, and that little bell, ring that if you'd like to be notified on when the next video is going up. Stealing the limelight as always, Oscar, thanks mate. See you next time. Okay, take 9. Got the steps up on this one. Oh God, I sound like a fucking goat in Andalusia. We got some nice light coming over the crest. Maybe it was all worth it. Look at that.